tonight's topic. We're going to be talking about soul ties. Soul ties, soul ties, soul ties. I'm still trying to get myself undiscombobulated. Now, soul ties was one of the topics that was brought up by one of our DAR members as a possible topic to talk about. Now, let's get into it. And it's funny, until we started this group, I had never heard of soul ties. Soul ties was brought up one time when we had the women's panel when we first started the group over in Arlington, Texas. And come to think about it, we need to do something like that again. We had a good time. You know, soul ties is becoming real popular, or has become real popular lately. And as I was researching it, it was being, popularized by the Gen Zers, which apparently I am not a part of. I am not a Gen Zer. I'm a Gen X. So, first thing I want to talk about, is the definition of a soul tie. You know, soul tie. Let me see if my light come down on me. All right, soul tie. A soul tie is an intense spiritual connection between two people that results in a mutual learning experience. That is what a soul tie is. We often refer to soul ties in a romantic state. Hold on one second, everybody. I was trying a new feature here. It doesn't seem it. Oh, there we go. Technology been whooping me all day today. So, definition of soul tie is rolling at the bottom of your screen. Like I said, it's a soul tie is an intense spiritual connection between two people that result in a mutual learning experience. Well, as during my research, a soul tie can actually be on one-sided thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be two. I can have a tie to one person, and it'll have to be mutual. Another thing that I figured out during this, soul ties are often confused with soul mates. And what is a soulmate? So let's look at the definition of a soulmate. Let me bring it up because I'm not going to use it from my memory. A person you feel deeply connected to, but is not dependent on you in a needy way. So let me bring that one up. So often people tend to confuse or use soul tie and soulmate interchangeably. So a soulmate is mutual or two-sided, or two people, where, as I said before, the soul tie can be one-sided. You know, and there are different types of soul ties, such as protective, which is developed in challenging times. And I can see that. Emotional connection during needing times. When I need you the most, you're there. Or when I'm in my lowest, they're there or they around at that time. And I can come dependent on them. I look at them as a strength. And I don't want nobody to think I'm thinking soul ties are bad. Soul ties are not necessarily bad. You know, their soul ties could be good, and we'll get into that. We'll get into pros and cons of the soul tie and the soul mate in a second. Another one is the sexual soul tie, and this is the one we're commonly, you know, we're commonly using soul tie with in that sexual manner. And so when we think of the soul tie, we always think of it in a romantic way. You know, why I can't get this person out my system, or I always want, when I feel a certain way, I'm always gonna go to this person for my sexual needs. You know, you know where I was thinking, I was watching a skit on YouTube for the last year, and you know them skits on YouTube, they tend to change, but one of them actually dealt with a soul tie, and this lady had a soul tie to a guy who was the main character, had soul tie to a guy, and she was engaged. And it is so funny that the topic of the skit was today was breaking the soul tie. So soul ties can be, to me, can be dangerous. It's a bond. No, I think it could be like a yo-yo. You know, when you have a yo-yo, you throw it away from your hand, it goes to the end of the rope and it comes back. Throw it away, it comes back. That's, to me, is like a soul tie. Much as I try to get rid of it, it always come back. You know, and because in a negative way, when you're trying to get rid of something that's not good for you and it keeps coming back, take it away and keeps coming back, it's like I can't stop falling for this tie, and breaking it is not going to be an easy cycle, in which we'll talk about shortly. And now another type is the permanent soul tie. You know what happens, with the knowledge of both partners, and this usually the permanent soul tie usually happens to married couples. You know, being around together so long, you start that the bond is so strong. It's like, hey, this is us. You know, no matter what, we're together. I don't know. That one was kind of vague to me, so I kind of equated to, like, you ever see them older married couples, and they kind of do their own separate thing, but they always together. You know, they may sleep in a separate room, but they always in the same house. They're always together. They just know each other's ins and outs. Like, oh, she just fussing. She be all right. Leave her alone. You know. So real quick, I want to acknowledge the people that's on here right now: the Campbells, uh, cousin Shy. Hey Felicia, Alex, how you doing? You know, one of the comments in chat is has anyone ever developed a soul tie in their life, and how do you break them? Well, I have had soul ties, and breaking can be difficult. You know, and I had see, and this is before I even know what a soul tie was. Also, as I learned about this, and I don't know, say I know everything about it. I also think about soul ties as in, for guys, why you keep messing with that crazy ass woman? You know she ain't no good for you, but you keep going back. Maybe it's a sexual soul tie, you know. And another soul tie that I read up on was the spiritual soul tie. And this is a connection beyond the body, feeling, and emotional of the involved partners. And this is the hardest one to break. And I can see that because this is almost universal, or not, or some metaphysical type being. This soul tie is like, it's probably something you can't explain, and like, why is this more than, it's like, it's almost that where you have to be with that person or you're not right. and and this is kind of what leads to the cons of the soul ties. Soul ties often lead to or make you ignore certain things. And what I mean by ignore certain things, one of those is one of the most common things we talk about in this group, the red flags. These soul ties can often make you ignore the red flags. There's no miss what's in your face. Don't acknowledge what's going on. You know, you're so emotionally wrapped into this other person, or even you each other so emotionally wrapped into each other in these soul ties, you're not realizing that you're not good for each other. That you're actually in a toxic way. You know, yeah, it's good to have these feelings, but it's not if it's not beneficial to your life, it's not doing you any good. It's more of a hindrance than a benefit. You know, and another problem I see with this is, in some cases, is like when you're thinking about, man, I'm looking for my person, my partner, my life partner, and you think you're meeting that person, or you're trying to develop this bond with that person, and you can't fully do it because you're tied to this person that could be toxic for you, or not good for you, or doesn't unknowingly doesn't mean your life any benefit, or doesn't give your life any benefit. You know, because often when we think of partners, we think a partner is going to give a mutual benefit for each other. How are we enhancing each other's life? And if you can't fully commit to that enhancement, how can you really move forward with that person that might be the best for you? How can you fully and truly love that person that could be meant for you, but you got these ties to someone else? Especially, this is me speaking in a personal tone, is like, especially with a sexual or romantic tie. You're giving part of your soul to somebody else and you can't fully commit to something that's meant for you. We often say God or the universe has someone in mind, but if you put that person in front of them and they had tied to something else, they can't fully embrace it. I can't go to Kia, my baby, and say, "Hey, I'm giving you my all, and I'm tied to someone else." That's false. It's like I'm only giving you parts of me, and where she's gonna give me her all. You have to come and breaking those ties. You know, another negative about this soul tie is you you don't you lose, or you don't have your own identity. Your identity is attached to this person you're tied to. And it's so funny that when I read that, I also thought about a conversation me and Babe had the other day. And she was like, don't ever lose your identity in this relationship. I was like, yeah, I'm not. But I thought about it like, oh, it's easy for me to do because I do have a soul tie with her, but it's a positive soul tie. I want to, I overly feel like I want to do everything to satisfy her, to love her, to do this, to that. And it's always easy to lose my identity. But this also comes with having a good partner to say, hey, check yourself. Don't lose yourself trying to do so much. Or don't lose yourself for a relationship. And she'll explain to me that's not what she wants. Which goes back to what I said about a having benefit in your life. She brings an abundance of benefit. You know, and which goes back to another negative about a soul tie is that dependent of emotional support, a overly dependent need of emotional support. And this hold on. This can come from maybe even that protective soul tie. You know, that can be a way of developing that dependent support. You know, yes, babe, you are pretty cool. So, what I'm gonna do real quick, I'm gonna deviate from the script. She says she's pretty cool. So, Kia McLean, the poet, I'm gonna acknowledge on this national broadcast on YouTube. You are beyond pretty cool. You are pretty fucking awesome, and I pretty fucking appreciate that you being in my life, bringing the benefits in my life, bringing value to my existence, and I not only want to be your soul tie, but your soulmate, because you're wonderful. Yeah, I'm gonna lay it on thick because I love her. I love her. I get love her. But anyway, now back to the regularly scheduled program. But yeah,
That was
these
sweet.
yeah these soul ties are so now in abundance, and they've been around probably. These think that the actual soul tie itself has probably been around since the beginning of man and woman. But as evolution and are we how we do, we have to know that we gotta find out if this soul tie is a good thing or a bad thing for us. And when it's a bad thing, you have to break that shit. You you know, it's like it's like crumbs in the bed. I mean, you because you eating in the bed and now you got these crumbs in the bed. It was good, but crumbs in the bed is not good. Now you got insects and stuff growing in your bed and all that stuff. You got cracker crumbs in your ass. It's not good for us.
You know about crumbs in the bed.
Yeah, I do know about crumbs in the bed. I have a soul tie to eating food in the bed. I have no doubt and I have no problem admitting of it. And guess what? Part of breaking a soul tie is acknowledging that you have a soul tie. You must realize, like, hey, I am so tied to you right now. This is not, and it's not good. You know, it's like, it's like an addiction. Once you realize you have that addiction, guess what? That's the first step. Acknowledge you got addiction. You know, my addiction is eating in the bed. I acknowledge that. I ain't gonna say I'm breaking it, but I'm easing toward. I'm easing toward it. Just we'll leave it at that. If I put my foot in my mouth. But yeah, you have to acknowledge it. And once you acknowledge it, now you gotta take other steps. You know, it's just like anything. And what you're gonna have to do now is you have to cut it off. And this to me is so hard to do when you say cut it off. So when you cut it off, hold on. Oh, baby, trying to give me some light. All right, so I had to unplug some things. So when you cut it off, that's probably, like I said, that's the hardest thing to do when you do it. So what you need to do is unplug that the from that pub, and you can plug it into this box over here, please. But that's easier said than done. And I try, yeah, any of those spots be fine. Turned upside down. There you go. Um, ooh, I am. Hold on. She gave me some light. Hey, I'm sorry, y'all. I had to look at myself. I am kind of on the. I'm addicted to my good looks. But anyway,
That's much better.
yes. But it's like one of the things I tell people who have breakups or who's trying to not deal with somebody that's not good for them. I tell them to delete their number, delete the number from the phone. Delete it because one of the things you tend to do when you start having a moment's weakness, you wanna call them. And with things that go on today is who remembers numbers? With cell phones, nobody remember numbers. And so when you hit that delete button, nobody. And so if somehow they call you, and if you like me, if no name, no answer. So delete it. That this that'll help the one side of you not trying to have the thing of, let me call them. Let me. I threw the yo-yo away, hoping that it won't come back. Hopefully the rope on that yo-yo break. You know, for those who's in my generation know with the yo-yo with the cheap string, you can play with it a couple of times. And that's what you're hoping. You know, I saw some comments real quick. Hold on. Yes, you do gotta remove yourself from the situation. That's the best. I'm not gonna be. It's even like crime. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to live in a crime area. If I feel my area where I'm living is full of crime, I'm gonna move. You know. Babe said back in the day I used to play on my phone. They answer and I hang up. Wow. Well, see, babe, I'm gonna explain something about you. All right, so let me explain something about Kia McClain, the co-host and co-founder of this group. She a whole thug. She a whole thug at heart. She got a player streak in her till she met me. But anyway, so she kind of hard. So she'll do some shit like that. She, all right, cuz I see you're a player too. I got you. The Thar therapist. All right. In which we talking about remove? Is this funny when you say you remove yourself from that situation? Is the thing I also said you can. I have on my list what you can do when you remove yourself from that situation. You put yourself in a situation around positive people. You know, positivity can be contagious. You want yourself around good people. Like, okay, they know I'm going through this. They ain't trying to put me anymore in the BS. They gonna be my support system for this. This is what around good people will do. Now, another one about breaking your ties. It says practice self care. One of the things I said it's going to do is practice self care. Now, I'm not going to tell you no story. Most guys don't practice the self care, which was pointed out to me not indirectly but directly. You know, when they say, and one of the examples of self care are examples of things I don't do. Yoga. Yeah. Let me straighten my shirt out. So why, as I say yoga, meditation. I'm trying it, boy, and that's a long road. That's like 6:35. It's long. It's just long. I tried a couple times. It's hard. Yeah. And another one is journaling. And you know, if you ever, so in the F, but when you watch the therapist and the poet segments on Tuesday, on every other Tuesday, they often tell you that journaling is one of the best things. You know, I'm a typical guy. I'm just an average guy, and it's funny in my mind, self care was nothing but I'm watching TV. Leave me the hell alone. I thought that was self care. It's not. So I'm still working on that. Luckily, I'm not trying to break a soul tie ever anymore, ever again, because I'm in my positive soul tie relationship with a soulmate. But but yeah, those are a few things that help you break these soul ties, these negative soul ties. You know, but I keep saying negative soul ties because I don't want nobody to think that the soul tie is always bad. Soul glow. Haha. But the yeah, that's when that's when Come to America was good. But we ain't gonna go. That's a whole nother topic. Um, we gotta think about the positive soul ties. We're talking about the no judgment, that soul tie of that positive soul tie of that person who doesn't judge you. Because how often do you look around and you see people that's judging others or judging you? Even though we shouldn't give a damn about them, but honestly, we know people judge us, and a majority of us can feel it, and we don't like it. But that soul tie, that person who doesn't judge you, let you feel like you're you, being you, and enjoying you. Which brings me to another positive feeling like they know you in all your love languages. They speak your love language, and they do it so effortlessly. Ooh, them damn multi-syllable words. They do it in such a easy manner. It's like talking to them is like a relief, like the exchange of back and forth, where my guard is not up. The that feeling of I can be me because of no judgment. Understand these love languages that's so dear to me. You know, and one of the best ones, the unconditional love that you feel from a soul tie. When I feel you can love me unconditionally, that's the best. That's the tie I would never want broken. If I'm soul tied to the soulmate in such a positive way, a beneficial way, an enlightening way, I don't want that broke. I'm not trying to break it. I'm trying to embrace it forever. These these soul ties are something that's been in existence. You know, it doesn't have or what I could say, they don't have like, it's not meant to be good, it's not to be bad. It's a tie. How we use it or how we come across it and accept it is if it's going to be good or bad. Here come that thumbs again. I don't know where this thumb stuff coming from. I'm tripping. All right. I don't. This the thumb. Maybe it's my equipment is tied to a soul tied to a thumb that goes up that appears on my screen for no reason. I can't figure it out. Figured it out. I can't understand why it keeps coming there. But anyway, we're gonna break. Once I figure out how to break that tie, it's gonna be on and popping. But the soul ties that you developed, you want to develop them with the right person for the right reasons. You know, like your shoelaces, you tie them up to keep your shoes on your feet. I want to develop a soul. I want my soul tie to be my covering in my relationship with her. I should not be tied to anybody else but my partner. You know, and this, and like I said before, one of the most popular soul ties was sexual. I can't get my soul ties, especially sexually, to anybody, or even platonically in a romantic way. That's a tie that is reserved for my partner and my partner exclusively. So I'm just gonna put it out there. All you women that want me now, my tie is exclusive to McCain. Yeah, I'm putting it on strong tonight, y'all. But no, I want everybody to think about it. I want you to think about some of the soul ties you might have had in life and how'd you break them. And I want you to think about somebody else who has a soul tie, a positive soul tie. You know, when I look at, like right here, when I look in this group right here, I'm gonna tell you, you know, them Campbells. I think that's a positive soul tie. Cause I'll talk to him and he say, you know this about your sister and shit, da. The tie that he knows they have together. But ultimately, in my mind, after researching soul ties, I want the soul tie and the soulmate to be tied together to my partner. So with that being said, if there's any more comments, I want everybody to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I want everybody to subscribe to all the streaming platforms. I want everybody to pass it along. You don't have to. They don't have to be part of this great group of Date Affirm the Real. Facebook, you can be a part of Date Affirm the Real. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, all of that. Yes, this soul tie was a great recommendation. And this, like I said, and this came from one of our DAR members. This is one of the topics they recommended. So we hear you. So if you got some more topics, keep them coming. And if somebody else out there who's not a part of the dark group, who see it on YouTube or on or if they listen on the podcast platforms, send an email, put it in the chat or the comments. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about sex pay. Let's talk about anything, positivity, and anything else. Yeah, DM us. With that being said, have a good night, and we'll be seeing you in the future. Good night.
Seeing eyes of mine, you see, there are no trees in